Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Thursday, December 29, 2022, after 3 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow night, we're going to have an in-depth information presentation on the iAccelerate formula from the doctor who formulated it. He will be on, along with one of the founders of New Extracts, Jim Barnett. Anybody who is interested in gathering more information about self-help of the body, which everybody's going to need as we progress, as the old infrastructure falls away, you're going to need to be able to rely on you. We have a game, all of us, and we play the game. And it's not much different than when you're playing any kind of game, board games. You remember everybody played board games before the computers came around. And sometimes we really get into it, and we forget it's a game. And there's numerous unique ways to participate in this game we call life. Some people live their lives in the bleachers, drinking beer, eating hot dogs, and watching the game pass by. They believe that life is a spectator event. Avoid taking risks and getting hurt, thus they do the minimum to survive. Sounds familiar. It's not a negative, but those are the people that's the first category, that some people live their lives in the bleachers, drinking beer, eating hot dogs, and watching the game pass by. This is just an analogy. It's not literal. We're just using an example. They believe that life is a spectator event. Avoid taking risks and getting hurt. Thus, they do the minimum to survive. The second category is the players who sit on the sideline bench, hoping and believing that one day they will be picked to play in the game. They believe there's nothing they can do to participate or be more involved. Yet, their shoes are still untied, they are chewing a big wad of bubble gum, and are totally unprepared to jump on the playing field at any moment. The third group is composed of the players who are in action on the playing field, yet they function like robots, unconsciously carrying out their coach's orders and commands. They do exactly what they are told and follow the rules of the game. They never question anything. Their lives are one big should waiting to implode. This should sound very familiar to you, all of you. And this analogy really fits because in all the sports I played, that kind of depicts the different layers. Okay? This group is terrified, the third group, this group is terrified of stepping out of the social lines that have been drawn around them by everyone else, afraid of others' opinions. They stick to doing what others will be approved of and never experience a taste of freedom their entire lives. This universe is saying, allow me to flow through you unrestricted, and you will see the greatest magic you have ever seen. Boss Jahel. The fourth group contains the most satisfied players of all. They are conscious, proactive, co-creative, open-minded manifestors who design their own game. These awakened beings experience a deep feeling of aliveness, living always in the peak of life, at the peak of life, deeply enjoying every moment of their time on the field. I remember when I was playing ball, we would have the warm-up, and the stadium was full of people, and the energy was phenomenal. And, of course, anticipation, who's going to win, who's going to lose, that type of thing. And when and I was on the field all the time, so I didn't get a break at halftime. And so what happened is that you would get toward the end of the game, and you kind of had this feeling that you wished it would just continue because it was so exciting. And that's the feeling that the fourth group, that's the feeling they carry. The fourth group contains the most satisfied players of all. They are conscious, proactive, co-creative, open-minded manifestors who design their own game. These awakened beings experience a deep feeling of aliveness, living always at the peak of life, deeply enjoying every moment of their time on the field. And sometimes we wish that we could just keep playing. These beings are natural leaders who catalyze and inspire all the other teammates to become more alive and take inspired action to jump out of their comfort zones and onto the field. They bring creative thinking and possibility consciousness, right? They bring creative thinking and possibility consciousness into the hearts and minds of each player. They have mastered the art of being present to the divine juiciness found within each moment of the game. In which one of these groups have you spent the majority of your time? And be totally honest with yourself, right? In which one of these groups have you spent the majority of your time? And it bears repeating. Like Gita Bellin made the statement, if one desires a change, one must be that change before that change can take place. You know, Mahatma Gandhi said the same thing. Be the change you want it to be. Be the change. If you're the change, everything changes. So, when we look at some people live their lives in the bleachers, drinking beer, eating hot dogs, watching the game pass by. They believe that life is a spectator event. Avoid taking risks, getting hurt. Thus, they do the minimum to survive. The second category is the players who sit on the sideline bench, hoping and believing that one day they will be picked to play in the game. Those are the people we would call bench warmers. They never got a chance to play in the game. Once in a while, someone would get injured, and the coach would call one of those people into the game. They believe there's nothing they can do to participate or be more involved, yet their shoes are still untied. They are chewing a big wad of bubble gum and are totally unprepared to jump on the field at any moment. See, that's what this life's about. That's what we're experiencing right now. To be totally prepared to jump on the field at any moment is basically saying, I'm game. I'm game for anything in this life because this life is so spectacular. I am ready as I'll ever be. Okay. The third group is composed of players who are in action on the playing field, yet they function like robots, unconsciously carrying out their coach's orders and commands. They do exactly what they are told and follow the rules of the game. They never question anything. Their lives are one big should waiting to implode. Now, this group is terrified of stepping out of the social lines that have been drawn around them by everyone else. Afraid of others' opinions, they stick to doing what others will be approved of, see? What others will be approved of, and never experience a taste of freedom their entire lives. This universe is saying, allow me to flow through you unrestricted, and you will see the greatest magic you have ever seen. And that is a fact. The fourth group contains the most satisfied players of all. They are conscious, proactive, co-creative, open-minded manifestors who design their own game. These awakened beings experience a deep feeling of aliveness, living always at the peak of life, deeply enjoying every moment of their time on the field. These beings are natural leaders who catalyze and inspire all the other teammates to become more alive and take inspired action to jump out of their comfort zones and onto the field. They bring creative thinking and possibility consciousness into the hearts and minds of each player. They have mastered the art of being present to the divine juiciness found within each moment of the game. Now you ask yourself, right? In which one of these groups have you spent the majority of your time? I invite you to step back from your life this week. Look through your past. View everything you have experienced in this life thus far. Notice when you were lounging with your feet up, watching the game go by from the bleachers, and when you felt like you were on the playing field, giving life 100%. Try not to judge how you were being. It's not the point of this. It's to be a watcher, to view, not to judge. Whether you chose to play it small, safe, and never chose to step onto the playing field, whatever you experienced, just witnessing what you were doing and how you felt inside, notice what time in your life made you feel so excited that you fully stepped onto the field. Remember what you were doing, who was with you, and what was that exciting feeling like. Try to recall different events from your life where you were literally standing on the playing field and people were watching you. Perhaps it was a sporting event, or you were speaking in front of a group. Notice how you felt inside about yourself and your life at that moment. Really dive inside yourself and remember this feeling. This feeling is going to be your secret weapon for mastering the game of life. Life begins at the end of your comfort zone. Life begins at the end of your comfort zone. Life is not a spectator event. This game is about discovering how to be more involved in it. Stepping out into the playing field as a conscious, powerful manifester in your life is both a terrifying and exhilarating experience. The exhilaration begins when we completely participate in the adventure and lose ourselves in the enjoyment of it. To reach the highest fulfillment on the deepest and most intimate levels of our being requires a mere 10 seconds of raw courage. In these moments, we jump out into the playing field and into the game. 10 seconds of raw courage. In these moments, and that's what they are, we jump out onto the playing field and into the game. We do or say whatever moves the fire in us and enjoy the aliveness of it all. This great aliveness only occurs mainly through creating a deeper, more intimate participation with the people who we love in our lives. This is a very direct intention to get to know and explore the heart and soul of the other being. And this intimacy level only happens when we are so involved and engaged in each moment that we lose our sense of separateness from everyone in our field. When we are deeply connecting with the consciousness of the other, we naturally create a level of intimacy that creates a win-win situation in the game. We are participating in our relationships at the highest level. This teaches us how to let go of the doubting mind and fully trust in the divinity of this life. Now is the time to rediscover the supernatural beings we all truly are. And you're not going to ever be able to run from that because you are that. We know exactly where we feel stuck in our lives, and now it's simply about letting it go. Getting on the playing field means you are choosing to access a higher purpose with divine focus. This makes us feel empowered to manifest our greatest dreams. Raise your vibration to the life you imagine for yourself, and your reality will align with that intention. Raise your vibration to the life you imagine for yourself, and your reality will align with that intention every single time. Now, you can really start with making an extensive list of all the things that you believe are stopping you from getting on the field. This is a list of your biggest, most secretive fears, excuses, insecurities, or just limiting beliefs about yourself. Write down every experience you can think of. Find out exactly what is stopping you from living the life of your dreams. After your list is complete, read through everything and select your top 3 charged topics. These are the most important ones to release from your body and mind. Start the fear releasing process. First, breathe into any resistance to feeling the hard, tight, negative, heavy sensations in your body. As you feel whatever you're feeling, on the out breath, repeat the words on the out breath. I release this fear and allow everything to be as it is. I release this fear and I allow everything to be as it is. Watch how your body reacts to the experiences, the feeling, right? To the experiences of the feeling fear, and simply remain the observer in the background, watching the event happening from afar. Repeat this exercise until there is no emotional charge left inside you. Go through each fear on your list until you feel no tension inside you. When you feel into each negatively charged statement, when you can find peace with your entire list, you'll find yourself exuding loads of new energy, which will allow you to naturally jump for joy onto the playing field of your life. Sometimes our only mode of transportation is a leap of faith. Sometimes our only mode of transportation is a leap of faith. What happens when a civilization is so, how do you put it, they're in these areas of belief mechanisms that I've shared with everybody. You know, there's at least the 4 levels, and I've shared those with you. And this is all part of lifting the civilization into a higher vibrational frequency. Now, is any of those, are you a bad person because you do some of those, or even all of them? No. This isn't about good and bad, right? This is about you. And each one of us can choose, it's a choice, to look at where we're at in this game, how we're living this game, how we're playing on the field with this game. Now, when you're basically looking at how you're playing it and how you can change directions on how you play it. Because, guys, it is a game. No matter how real it feels, it is a game. And eventually we're going to leave these bodies, and that game for that particular life is over. Then we'll choose another, and another, and another, and another. And why? And the question is why do we feel so compelled to reincarnate? Okay. And then people say, well, I don't know about reincarnation. It's just a fancy word of saying the God is in the body. That's it, period. Okay. Now, we will always inhabit physical forms. Why? Because we like to experience. You ever notice that some people, you say to yourself, they just float by in life. You ever met anybody like that? They just seem that things they just don't seem inside and out bothered by a lot of the stuff. You know why that is? Because they know it's temporary. And they don't care to expend their energy in something temporary. So what they do is they enjoy it. And as you enjoy it more, you create more of the enjoyment for yourself. It always has to be, it does have to be, you first. This isn't arrogance. It is not ego mind. It is heart-minded because you decide for yourself, whether you know it or not. You will always decide for yourself. It is built in to all of us. We decide for ourselves. And not necessarily do some of us exercise that, maybe not even once in a lifetime. We let the societal structure carry us, right? And we really don't perform anything. But when you come across somebody that's, you can tell, we all can tell the energy within and how we touch the God within them and our God within us. And you just, it's not fake, it's inside and out that they just really love living. They love living. And that doesn't mean jumping off a bridge on a bungee cord line or jumping out of a plane at 10,000 feet, skydiving. That has nothing to do with it. They love living their lives. They love every moment exactly as it is. They don't complain. They don't put their energies into that direction. Why would we? Why would we say, well, I've spent the last 50 years of my life complaining, off and on, not satisfied with things, upset about things not happening the way I want them to. And it goes on and on and on. So we form the life that we live. The game, right? And therefore, doesn't it make sense that we can change that? We can change our participation in the game? Now, we know we are not of the game, but we are in the game. The only reason we're in the game is because we have the opportunity to be in a body, a physical form. And we can experience all these things, good, bad, and indifferent. And we know it's not forever because we leave that life and that body, and then we enter another and start over again. And here's the reason, and a lot of people don't know this on this planet. What happens is that until we discover who and what we are, we will have endless incarnations. You see how it works? Until we discover in physical form who and what we are, we come full circle, whether it's a rediscovery or a first-time discovery. We understand that we are not the body, but that we are literally the pure essence, the pure consciousness, the God within the body. The Bible messed up a lot of people on this planet through generations, for thousands of years, because it was written by not good people. And so people have embraced those words in many ways. And so the belief is that there is a God outside of us that rules over us and directs us. We should worship this God and not cross this God. You know what, guys? That God doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. We are the gods. Now, all of us combined, throughout all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond and forever, are the one God. I want to use the word God, okay? But there is not a God outside of us. It doesn't exist. This one entity that goes to battle with Satan and has wars with Satan. This is all bicameral influenced and invented. You see? So this direction that we have chosen collectively as a people is to open up our understanding of who and what we really are. It isn't a secret, okay? It's not some hidden treasure trove of gold and gems that you discover. It is who and what you really are. And this civilization, that's its evolution. That's its deciding to go into higher and higher vibrational frequencies, which are endless. If anybody were to ever ask you, and they may, in the time ahead of us, who am I? And your right response is, you're the God. The civilization has got to embrace this and stop its incessant negating of the truth. We are the God. Yes, that's spiritual. And as a civilization, we have negated our spirituality to embrace the physicality of the material world. And it's a choice. We either participate or we don't, at various levels. Do you believe in your heart mind, in this very moment, that many of us decided to go within and discover that we are the God within the body and we're not the body, okay? That's the first step, to acknowledge it openly and lovingly. And then we became the active players in the game. Do you believe that all of these shenanigans happening on this planet would be happening? Feel that in your heart mind, not your ego mind, but in your heart mind. Well, I think that we all feel in our heart minds, no, it would not be happening. What is the power of the light? What is the power that everybody talks about of the light forces, right? Do you know what the armor of God is? The armor of God is that you have discovered that you are the God in the body, not the body, and that the body is temporary. But what is the light? Is it a flashlight? You know, lighting up a room of darkness? Well, that's an analogy. What is it? Why is it that it's so difficult for us to embrace the light fully, unobstructed? What is it that stops us from opening our hearts to the God within? And what is the light? It is the love. It is the love inherent in all of us gods that makes us up, that keeps our energy together as one. I mean, we're all God, right? And we're all participating in the game of life. And not one of us is doing identically what the other one's doing in this game. There isn't not one of us is doing exactly what the other is doing in this game. It's like snowflakes. Everyone's different. That makes it very, very exciting. And it lends diversity in the game of life. If we were all doing the same thing, wouldn't that be boring? Where would our motivation be to stay in the body? It wouldn't. Get dry, stale, no excitement. Okay? And we have the excitement. Whenever you have the excitement in the game, what happens? Lots of things. You ever been really, really, really excited about something? And your heart starts pounding, right? Not your head, not the ego mind. That's totally out in left field. That you're in the now moment, and you are excited about something. Genuinely. Now, it doesn't matter if anybody else is excited about it. All that matters is that you are excited about it. This is the game of life. It doesn't matter what other people think of you. It has nothing to do with that. It is what you are excited about. And you imagine that all of us are naturally jumping for joy onto the playing field of our lives. All of us. Because we chose to. Because we chose to go within. And basically what going in means is that you focus on the God that you are. You discover the God that you are. That's going within. And the God that you are has all the answers. And when you pray to the God that you are. You do not pray to something outside of you. Those are the lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies. They want you to keep them alive. See? They want you to keep them alive by you focusing on that which is outside of oneself. And it is not the God. So that's when you start running into things throughout lifetimes that, you know, the God, you have to pray to the God outside of you. The God is watching you. The God is evaluating you, judging you. That's all created so that you believe through generations that there is a God outside of you that you have to be fearful of and stay in line, or you'll be riddled with guilt, frustration, fear, worry, suffering, all of that stuff. So who is it that literally directs this planet, right, and the civilization in any direction? It is the players that are actively in the game and that are consciously aware of what they are doing. And the enjoyment and jumping for joy onto the playing field of our lives with loads of new energy. And the reason we discuss this kind of an exercise, you're eliminating the emotional charge. There is no emotional charge left inside you. You go through each fear on your list until you feel no tension inside you. When you feel into each negatively charged statement, when you can find peace with your entire list, you will find yourself exuding loads of new energy, which will allow you to naturally jump for joy onto the playing field of your life. Does it make any sense that any of us would choose? No matter what our conditioning, we discover that, and that conditioning is vaporized. That's part of the process that we choose for ourselves, or don't choose, okay? But we vaporize all of that nonsense, and we eliminate all of that gunk, and now we have an empty house. We're clean, inside and out. And now we have loads of new energy, which will allow us to naturally jump for joy onto the playing field of our lives. When you feel depressed, and this is absolute, when you feel depressed, and why 65% of the American people are on antidepressants, you want to know why? Because the ego mind is in charge. That's it, period. It's the only way that people feel that way, the ego mind. And what does the ego mind dictate to each one of them? You're not enough. Your life can be better. There's more. You aren't doing enough. You're not stepping up to the plate. I want this. My life is in shambles. This. That's ego mind. That's all it is. And those are for the people who have not discovered who and what they are. Not a bad thing. It's an experience. Each of us choose, and it is always up to us. It is up to no one else. Always up to you. You start the fear-releasing process. You first breathe into any resistance to feeling the hard, tight, negative, heavy sensations in your body. And as you feel whatever you're feeling, on the out breath, repeat the words, I release this fear and allow everything to be as it is. I release this fear and allow everything to be as it is. Watch, don't judge. Watch how your body reacts to the experiences, the feeling of fear, right? And simply remain the observer in the background, watching the event happening from afar. And you just keep repeating this exercise until there's no emotional charge left inside you. You cleaned it out. You have really cleaned it out. And you go through each fear on your list until you feel no tension inside you when you feel into each negatively charged statement. When you can find peace with your entire list, you will find yourself exuding loads of new energy, which will allow you to naturally jump for joy onto the playing field of your life. People wonder, how do we change things on this planet? How do we stop this incessant, in this game of life, how do we stop relying on the proverbial outside of us to save us? How do we stop that? It is a proverbial direction in the game of life for most of us on this planet to look for external authority to save us. Right? And if you look throughout history, you get some kernels of truth here and there. You dig deep. And you find out that that has always been the direction, and has it ever worked? You end up watching and viewing in past events that it was the people who saved themselves, not the external proverbial cavalry that was going to save them. They ended up saving themselves. And you look throughout history, you'll find that to be a constant denominator in all of life. You know, it's the statement, if it is to be, it is up to me. And what that means is to go within and discover who and what you truly actually are. So you watch the body go through things, right? You watch it go through things. The body has the ego mind, which is an illusion. The heart mind is the God. It is the gateway to the God that you are. But this is the physical and emotional of that body, not you. Now, you could come in and drive the body, right? You can be the navigator. You can be the seafaring captain of the vessel. You can be those things. But you are not the body. It is merely a vessel for you, the God, to experience whatever you choose to experience. That's what it is. Do you make mistakes? No, it's experience. The society creates this thought, these feelings of, oh, you messed up, or oh, you're a failure, or oh, this, or oh, that. And it's all crap. It's garbage. It's stinking thinking. We are pure, omnipotently powerful, supreme beings in these bodies. We never die. We never have died. You understand that? Energy cannot be destroyed. It just changes shape and form. Seriously, you think energy is destroyed? No. Is it exhausted? It can never be exhausted. It is always recharging and replenishing itself throughout existence and beyond. See, all these implanted while in the body and influence are beliefs and how we believe. And it doesn't matter. Whatever you believe you're going to create, whatever life you believe, right? That's the life you will live. It doesn't matter if there's war raging all around you. It doesn't matter if there's all this negative garbage that's been drummed up to redirect your attention and power to all that garbage. It doesn't matter. It is your decision to discover who and what you are. And you will affect others. It is a guarantee. You will affect others. But you don't do it to affect others. You do it to wake yourself up. To really understand that being in a body is absolutely magnificent. It's a wonderful adventure. And yet so many of us don't know that. We take the burden down. We take the physicality and the material physical world. And again, it's not a negative. It is an experience. You ever, maybe it's been you, in certain situations in your life, where everything seemed to go wrong. No matter what, it just, one after the other, one thing after the other kept piling up, piling up, piling up, piling up, and hitting you from every angle. You ever had that happen? Maybe in just a day, okay? Where does that come from? You. That's where it comes from. Because you aren't aware that you're putting out thoughts, right? And you literally are taking energy and bringing it into form and experiencing it in reality. Everything. It's all of it. Well, doesn't the universe throw in unknowns? Not really. It answers you. But it doesn't mean you're consciously aware of a lot of things that you have created for you and the life, the game of life that you're in, onto the playing field of your life. You create it all, unconsciously and consciously. Very few are conscious about it. Very few. Because if they were conscious about it, then they wouldn't create that type of life. Okay? Because the interesting thing is you may say to yourself, I know who and what I am, and I fully embrace the God that I am with deep eternal love, gratitude, kindness, gentleness, humbleness, and generosity. I also know that I would like to experience little adventures along the way. It makes it much more buoyant and exciting. So we create those. Now, these are things that just happen out of the clear blue, and we don't have any clue where they came from. Where did that come from? Why did that happen? And you begin to realize, I put that in there to spice things up. Sitting in a hovel throughout your life, only doing what's safe, what you feel is safe, okay? And safe is an illusion too. And that's how you live. That's your choice, right? That's the first group that we talked about. Some people live their lives in the bleachers, drinking beer and eating hot dogs, watching the game pass by. They believe that this life is a spectator event, and they avoid taking risks and getting hurt. Thus, they do the minimum to survive. Okay? This makes sense. It starts to dot the I's and cross the T's, put the puzzle pieces in place so you can see the whole picture. Not judge it, not judge any of these folks. The second category is the players who sit on the sideline bench, hoping and believing that one day they will be picked to play in the game. They believe there's nothing they can do. See, they believe there's nothing they can do to participate or be more involved. And that's what? The way life is, they say. That's how they're going to live it. What they were handed. And yet, their shoes are still untied. They are chewing a big wad of bubble gum and are totally unprepared to jump on the field at any moment. And I watched this happen with the bench warmers, right? They weren't prepared to get on the field because they believed they would never get on the field. But they were there waiting, hopefully, that they would be able to get on that field and their relatives in the bleachers would be all happy and excited to see them run onto the field. Okay? And if you called them, if the coach called them, you know, Ben, get out there. And Ben wouldn't be ready because he'd be fumbling around, his shoelaces would be untied, he wouldn't, trying to find his helmet and everything, and then eventually the coach would pick somebody else. The third group is comprised of the players who are in action on the playing field, right? Yet they function like robots. They stare at you, looking for you to give them direction. That's a fact, guys. They stare at you, waiting for them. They're waiting for you to give them direction. Their eyes are intense on you. They want you to tell them what they're going to be doing in that game. And they unconsciously are carrying out their coach's orders and commands. They do exactly what they are told and follow the rules of the game. They never question anything. Their lives are one big should waiting to implode. Now, we may have all participated at one time or another in this perspective. This group is terrified of stepping out of the social lines that have been drawn around them by everyone else, afraid of others' opinion. They stick to doing what others will be approved of and never experience a taste of freedom in their entire lives. Allowing the universe to flow through us, unrestricted, right? And making that choice, we will see the greatest magic we have ever seen. Now, the fourth group contains the most satisfied players of all. They are conscious, proactive, co-creative, open-minded manifestors who design their own game. Now, these awakened beings experience a deep feeling of aliveness, living always at the peak of life, deeply enjoying every moment of their time on the field. These beings are natural leaders who catalyze and inspire all the other teammates to become more alive and take inspired action to jump out of their comfort zones and onto the field. They bring creative thinking and possibility consciousness. In other words, nothing is impossible. Anything is possible. Into the hearts and minds of each player. They have mastered the art of being present to the divine juiciness found within each moment of the game, in which one of these groups have you spent the majority of your time. Take a look. And really, really, really make a concerted effort not to judge how you were being. Whether you choose to play it small, safe, and never choose to step onto the playing field, whatever you experienced, just witnessing what you were doing and how you felt inside. Notice what time in your life made you feel so excited that you fully stepped onto the field. Remember what you were doing, who was with you, and what was that exciting feeling like. Try to recall different events from your life where you were literally standing on the playing field and people were watching you. Perhaps it was a sporting event, or even you were speaking in front of a group. Could be anything. Notice how you felt inside about yourself, your life, at that moment. Really dive inside yourself and remember this feeling. And this feeling is going to be your secret weapon to mastering this game of life. Life begins at the end. It begins at the end of your comfort zone. I'll join you in the meditation, and I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose, and an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. Certain negative events will always happen to us to cause us to take a glimpse at a bigger reality. If we can look at them with eyes wide open, we will always notice one thing. We actually created these challenging and frightening events to give us an experience of coming home. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night and the following morning. We will return here Friday, December 30th, 2022, 3 p.m. Eastern, to continue our Global Guided Meditation call, and 9 p.m. Eastern to continue our Reverse Aging Health call. Be very good to yourself at all times.